There has been an update in this teacher's case. Heather Hare was a teacher at Bryant High School when she was first arrested in April 2023 for having an inappropriate predatory relationship with a student. She was later arrested in the summer of 2023 for the same thing. The second case came after a second student came forward with allegations against Heather Hare. Now, both of those were state cases, but Heather Hare was later charged in federal court as well. In federal court, Heather Hare was charged with the transportation of a minor across state lines to engage in illegal sexual activity. Now, according to police and investigators, Heather Hare met the student the first day of his senior year at Bryant High School. She immediately started one-on-one counseling with the student. She gave him her personal cell phone number and she messaged him through Snapchat and Instagram. Please hear me when I say that none of these things are things that teachers should be doing with students. At some point, Heather Hare told the student, the victim in this case, that she had a dream about them having sex. Heather Hare then gave the student the address to her home in Conway. It's alleged that the student and Heather Hare had sex approximately 20 to 30 times at her home, at the school in Bryant, both in the classroom and in the parking lot, and also in her vehicle. Between April 21st, 2022 and April 24th, 2022, Heather Hare was a chaperone on a school trip taking 4 students, one of them being the victim in this case, and the other 3 being female students, to Washington, D.C. Now, this trip was an extracurricular trip for family consumer sciences classes that were taught by Heather Hare. But on the course of this trip, Heather Hare and the victim engaged in sexual activity. That's what permitted the federal government to bring charges against Heather Hare, and she was indicted on August 1st, 2023. In that indictment, Heather Hare was charged with transportation of a minor to engage in illegal sexual activity and 1 count of interstate foreign travel for prostitution or sexual activity by coercion. On January 22nd, 2024, Heather Hare pled guilty in federal court to the transportation charge. Now, she pled guilty to the transportation charge to avoid the other charge, but that single transportation charge carries a sentence of no less than 10 years in federal prison. Now, I know what you're thinking, 10 years in federal prison, not a big deal. But in federal prison, it's different than Arkansas State Prison. Federal prison, you have to serve 85% of your sentence, which means that Heather Hare would have to serve at least 8.5 years in federal prison. And in my opinion, I think that that is a big sentence for a teacher. A deserved sentence, of course, but a big sentence for a teacher, especially a female teacher, when we know that so many female teachers are just getting slaps on the wrist for this sort of thing. Please, I am begging you, do not come into my comments and say, how old was the student? How old was the victim? I don't know how old he was, and I don't care how old he was. The fact is that he was under the age of 18, which this charge being a federal charge means that he was a minor. Heather Hare's state case, where she was charged with 2 counts of first-degree SA, is still pending. She has court coming up on February the 5th. So it remains to be seen what will happen in that case. It seems like sometimes the state of Arkansas defers to the federal government and just lets them handle it. Other times the state of Arkansas goes ahead with the prosecution and the sentences are ran concurrently. But I will update when more information becomes available on that. Now, as far as Heather Hare's sentence in federal court, she has not been sentenced yet. Sentencing will be set at a later date. And I will update on the sentence when that happens.